Now, imagine this. You're sitting on a good, sturdy park bench, watching the autumn leaves drift down like golden memories. The air is fresh, the sun is warm, and for once, nobody is calling your name or asking for favors. No meetings, no errands, just you, the peaceful rhythm of your breath, and the wisdom of the years behind you. Feels nice, doesn't it? But society tells us that being alone is something to fear, like forgetting where you put your glasses, which are probably on your head. The truth is, solitude isn't something missing, it's something gained. Instead of feeling like an empty room, it can feel like freedom, a break from all the noise, stress, and expectations. Buddhism teaches that one of the biggest sources of suffering is constantly looking for approval. Think about it. How much of our lives have been spent worrying about what others think? Trying to fit in, please people, keep up with the neighbors? But real peace doesn't come from how many people surround us, it comes from within. Old age isn't about losing, it's about choosing. Choosing where to spend your time, who to share your energy with, and what truly matters. You don't have to give up friendships, you just get to keep the ones that truly make you happy. Less small talk, more real conversations. Less worrying about what's expected, and more enjoying the little things, like eating dessert first, just because you can. If you find this video helpful, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. So let's explore how aging is not about loss, but about rediscovering the truest, most peaceful version of ourselves. 1. Understanding the shift in priorities. As the years pass, our priorities naturally shift. What once felt urgent, the need for recognition, companionship, and constant engagement, gradually softens. In our younger days, friendships were like stepping stones, helping us shape our identity. We surround ourselves with people, believing that the more connections we have, the more meaningful our lives will be. But as we grow older, a quiet realization sets in. Fulfillment does not come from how many people are around us, but from the peace we cultivate within ourselves. In our youth, solitude might have seemed lonely, even frightening. A quiet house, an empty chair at the dinner table, these could feel like signs of something missing. But now, in later years, solitude begins to reveal its gifts. It is no longer an absence, it is an opportunity to slow down, to listen to our own thoughts, to breathe deeply without rushing to the next obligation. The simple things, a warm cup of tea in the morning, the golden light of the afternoon sun, the scent of old books, or the steady rhythm of our own breath, become treasures that bring us a quiet kind of happiness. Buddhism teaches that suffering comes from clinging, holding too tightly to things that, by nature, are ever-changing. Relationships, like everything in life, shift and evolve. Some friends stay, others drift away, and loved ones pass on. But instead of seeing this as a loss, we can view it as a natural part of life's rhythm. When we stop grasping at connections out of fear, we allow them to be what they are, fluid, meaningful, but not necessary to define our worth. This doesn't mean we stop valuing friendship. On the contrary, it means we engage with others in a way that feels genuine rather than obligatory. We learn to cherish deep, meaningful conversations over surface-level exchanges. We become more selective, not out of selfishness, but out of wisdom. We recognize that our energy is precious, and instead of scattering it in every direction, we invest it in what truly matters. This is not loneliness. This is liberation. It is the freedom to enjoy our own company without restlessness. It is the ability to find joy in the present moment, without needing the world to affirm who we are. Imagine sitting on a quiet porch in the evening, watching the stars blink into the night sky. There is no rush, no noise, just you, your thoughts, and the gentle hum of life all around. Aging is not a process of losing, it is a process of deepening. A deepening of wisdom, of presence, of self-acceptance. We no longer need the world to tell us we are enough. We have lived, we have learned, and in this space of solitude, we find something truly beautiful. We were always whole, just as we are. 2. The freedom of self-reliance. One of the most profound teachings of Buddhism is the power of self-reliance. The Buddha himself walked away from the comforts of his palace, his wealth, and even his family, not out of rejection, but in search of deeper truth. He understood that attachment creates suffering, and that true peace comes not from what surrounds us, but from within. As we grow older, we begin to see how much of life has been spent trying to meet expectations, being the reliable friend, the supportive family member, the one who always shows up. We maintain relationships out of duty, shape ourselves to fit social norms, and seek validation through the approval of others. But aging offers us a rare and beautiful gift: the freedom to let go. We no longer need to prove our worth through external relationships or busy social calendars. Instead, we can turn inward and rediscover a sense of wholeness that has been within us all along. At first, the idea of self-reliance might feel unfamiliar, even uncomfortable. After all, we have spent decades engaging with the world, building friendships, and finding meaning in our connections. To step back from that can feel like stepping into the unknown. But with time, a powerful realization dawns. Self-reliance isn't about isolation. It's about freedom. The freedom to choose how and when we engage, rather than feeling bound by obligation. The freedom to prioritize inner peace over external approval. The freedom to simply be, without the constant pull of needing others to affirm our place in the world. Think about the moments in your life when you felt truly at peace. Perhaps it was sitting on the porch in the early morning, wrapped in a warm blanket, listening to the birds greet the day. Maybe it was walking along the shoreline, watching the waves roll in, feeling the vastness of the ocean stretch before you. Or perhaps it was the quiet joy of tending to your garden, the rich scent of the earth grounding you in the present moment. These moments of stillness, of presence, were fulfilling not because of who was with you, but because they allowed you to simply exist, undisturbed and whole. That stillness, that deep, undistracted awareness, is the heart of self-reliance. In youth, we often look outward for fulfillment. We chase success, friendships, and the sense of belonging that comes with them. But with age, we begin to see a truth that was always there. We don't have to search for fulfillment. It already exists within us. There is a quiet satisfaction in knowing that we are enough just as we are, without needing the world to confirm it for us. The beauty of self-reliance is that it allows us to engage with others more authentically. We no longer hold on to friendships out of fear or necessity. Instead, we connect with people because we truly enjoy their presence, not because we feel incomplete without them. There is no sense of desperation, no need to maintain relationships that have run their course. We give our time and energy freely, without expectation, because we are already whole within ourselves. This shift in perspective is life-changing. Rather than fearing solitude, we learn to embrace it. Rather than seeing ourselves as alone, we see ourselves as independent. And in that independence, we find strength. We find peace. We find a life no longer shaped by the expectations of others, but by the quiet, unwavering wisdom within us. Self-reliance in later years is not about withdrawing from the world. It is about stepping into our own power. It is the realization that everything we once sought, love, peace, understanding, was never outside of us. It was always within, waiting to be discovered. If you're still watching this video and finding these lessons useful, comment the number 2 below to let me know you're here with me. Thank you for your valuable time. 3. Quality over quantity, the art of meaningful connection. Buddhism teaches that all things in life are impermanent, and relationships are no exception. Friends will come and go, some will drift away gradually, others will change in ways we never expected, and many will live on only in our memories. Instead of mourning these shifts, we can learn to celebrate them for what they were, precious moments that enriched our journey. With age comes the wisdom to understand a simple truth. It is not the number of people in our lives that matters, but the depth of the connections we cultivate. A single heartfelt conversation can hold more meaning than a lifetime of shallow exchanges. In Zen philosophy, there is a saying, "When drinking tea, drink tea." This means that whatever we do, we should do it with full presence, immersing ourselves completely in the experience. The same applies to relationships. Rather than spreading ourselves thin, we should invest our time and energy in those who truly nourish our hearts and minds. What does this look like in daily life? Imagine sitting with a dear friend, sharing a quiet meal. There's no need for extravagant gestures or forced conversation, just the warmth of companionship and the comfort of being fully present with one another. In that moment, you realize that true connection is not about how often you see someone or how many words are exchanged. It's about sincerity. It's about being seen and understood without pretense or performance. In our younger years, we may have equated connection with social gatherings, the size of our friend circle, or the number of invitations on our calendar. But as we grow older, we begin to understand that true fulfillment comes not from accumulating relationships, but from deepening them. At 82, Eleanor Thompson had always been the social butterfly, book clubs, church groups, neighborhood gatherings. But over time, she realized these large events left her feeling empty rather than connected. Conversations were friendly but lacked depth. Then, she reconnected with Margaret, an old colleague. Their weekly walks, filled with meaningful conversations and comfortable silence, felt more fulfilling than any crowded event. Eleanor realized that true connection wasn't about numbers, it was about authenticity. She started prioritizing relationships that brought real joy, letting go of superficial obligations. In doing so, she discovered a deeper sense of peace and fulfillment, proving that quality, not quantity, is what truly nourishes the soul. Aging grants us the clarity to choose our interactions with intention. We no longer feel obligated to accept every invitation or maintain connections that have outlived their purpose. This isn't selfishness, it's wisdom. And in practicing this discernment, we free ourselves to invest in the relationships that bring us true joy and meaning. By embracing quality over quantity, we also learn the power of deep listening. In Buddhist tradition, listening is considered one of the highest acts of love. When we listen without rushing to respond, without planning what we'll say next, we honor the presence of the other person. This kind of listening transforms even the shortest encounters into something meaningful, turning an ordinary conversation into a moment of true connection. As we journey through life, let us remember, relationships, like everything else, are fleeting. But the sincerity of our presence, the depth of our conversations, and the love we share, these are the things that last. In the end, it's not about how many hands we've shaken, but how many hearts we've truly touched. 4. The beauty of solitude and reflection. Dr. Carl Jung, the renowned Swiss psychiatrist and founder of analytical psychology, beautifully captured the power of solitude. Loneliness does not come from having no people around you, but from being unable to communicate the things that seem important to you. Solitude is not emptiness, it is a sanctuary. In Buddhist tradition, monks retreat into silence not to escape the world, but to understand it more deeply. The same principle applies to aging. Instead of filling every moment with idle chatter, we can embrace silence as a space for reflection. In solitude, we gain the time to process our past, accept our journey, and release regrets. Stillness reveals a profound truth. We are complete, even when alone. In life's constant noise, moments of silence are rare, yet within them lies the opportunity for growth. Stepping away from distractions allows us to reflect on our choices, lessons, and the person we have become. Many mistake solitude for loneliness, but the two are vastly different. Loneliness is the absence of connection, while solitude is the presence of self. When we learn to befriend ourselves, solitude becomes a gift, not a burden. Throughout history, spiritual seekers have found their greatest wisdom in solitude. The Buddha attained enlightenment beneath the Bodhi tree in deep meditation. Great poets, philosophers, and artists have all turned inward to discover truth. In stillness, we gain clarity, creativity, and a deeper understanding of life. Solitude also nurtures personal fulfillment. It allows us to enjoy simple yet enriching activities, writing, painting, gardening, or simply sitting in peaceful contemplation. These solitary pursuits remind us that joy does not depend on others. It comes from within. Of course, solitude does not mean isolation. It is about balance, knowing when to seek connection and when to retreat into stillness. By embracing solitude, not as an escape, but as a practice of self-awareness, we open a path to inner peace. In the end, solitude is not something to fear, but something to cherish. It is a doorway to self-discovery, a quiet refuge where we realize that we are never truly alone. We are always in the presence of our own soul. If you're still watching this video and finding these lessons useful, comment the number 4 below to let me know you're here with me. Thank you for your valuable time. 5. The importance of family and community. As friendships naturally ebb and flow with time, the significance of family and community often takes center stage in our later years. This shift isn't about dependency. It's about stepping into a new role, one that is deeply fulfilling. As we age, we become wisdom keepers, mentors, and guiding lights for younger generations. Buddhism teaches the principle of interdependence, the understanding that we are all connected in an intricate web of cause and effect. While solitude fosters self-awareness and reflection, true fulfillment often comes from the ability to share, give, and contribute to something greater than ourselves. In many traditional cultures, elders are respected as the keepers of history, experience, and guidance. Yet, in modern Western society, aging is sometimes viewed through a lens of decline rather than value. But consider this: your years of lived experience, the struggles you've overcome, and the lessons you've gathered make you an irreplaceable source of knowledge. You hold the wisdom that younger generations desperately need, but may not yet know how to ask for. Aging gives us the chance to pass down not just stories, but values, perseverance, kindness, patience, and resilience. A simple conversation with a grandchild about a difficult time you endured can shape how they approach challenges in their own lives. Sharing family recipes, teaching a skill, or even explaining how life was different when you were young helps weave a sense of continuity between generations. These moments matter more than we realize. They remind us that we are not isolated individuals passing through life, but part of a long and interconnected human story. Family is not just about blood relations, it's about connection. Sometimes our closest bonds are with those we choose as family. Lifelong friends, caring neighbors, or members of a faith or social community. Whether it's reconnecting with distant relatives, strengthening ties with grandchildren, or embracing the warmth of the chosen family, these relationships provide a deep sense of belonging. Imagine the simple joy of sitting with a child or grandchild, sharing old photos and telling stories of your youth. Picture the warmth of a Sunday gathering, where laughter and shared meals create lasting memories. These are not just moments of nostalgia, they are acts of legacy building, shaping how the next generation remembers and carries forward the values of love, perseverance, and faith. In the end, solitude is not something to fear, but something to cherish. It is a doorway to self-discovery, a quiet refuge where we realize that we are never truly alone. We are always in the presence of our own soul. If you're still watching this video and finding these lessons useful, comment the number 4 below to let me know you're here with me. Thank you for your valuable time. One of the greatest joys of aging is the freedom to choose where to invest your energy. Instead of feeling pressured to maintain every old friendship or accept every invitation, you can focus on the relationships that truly bring meaning and joy. In this way, the later years become a time of refining, deepening, and truly appreciating the bonds that matter most. As we grow older, we may find that one of the most rewarding aspects of life is not what we receive, but what we give. In Buddhism, dana, the practice of generosity, is considered one of the most powerful virtues. It teaches that giving without expectation purifies the heart, dissolves the ego, and fosters deep inner peace. Giving does not always mean financial support. Sometimes, the most valuable gifts are the simplest: offering a listening ear, sharing wisdom, or being present for someone who needs encouragement. Volunteering, mentoring, or simply offering kindness to a stranger can create ripples of impact far beyond what we can see. For example, consider the act of teaching a younger person something you've mastered: a craft, a trade, a life skill, or even a perspective that only time can give. Imagine showing a grandchild how to tend a garden, repair something with their hands, or write a heartfelt letter instead of a text message. These moments of teaching and giving are what connect generations and make a lasting impact. As we reflect on life, we begin to ask ourselves, what will we leave behind? What impact have we made? Legacy is not just about material wealth. It is about the wisdom we pass down, the kindness we show, and the love we extend. It is about the stories that will be told long after we are gone, the values we instill in those who come after us, and the sense of belonging we create within our families and communities. We do not measure life by the number of years we have lived, but by the depth of our connections, the sincerity of our presence, and the love we have given. In the end, it is not about how many people we have known, but how many lives we have touched. So as we navigate the later years, let us embrace both solitude and connection. Let us share our wisdom generously, love deeply, and engage with our communities in meaningful ways. Because in doing so, we ensure that our presence, our lessons, and our spirit live on, woven into the hearts of those who follow. If you're still watching this video and finding these lessons useful, comment the number 5 below to let me know you're here with me. Thank you for your valuable time. 6. Letting go of social expectation. The world may tell you that you need more friends, that social isolation is something to fear, and that a full calendar is a sign of a meaningful life. But Buddhism teaches a different truth. Suffering arises when we cling too tightly to societal expectations. Old age is not a time of loss. It is an opportunity to step away from the noise of the world and finally live on your own terms. For much of our lives, we are shaped by external pressures: what we should achieve, how we should behave, and even who we should surround ourselves with. We chase recognition, believing that validation comes from numbers: more friends, more events, more invitations. But at some point, a quiet realization dawns. None of it truly defines us. Letting go of these expectations is not a retreat, but a liberation. An invitation to live authentically and without apology. This shift in perspective is not about withdrawing from the world, but about engaging with it in a way that nourishes rather than depletes you. It might mean choosing meaningful solitude over forced interactions, prioritizing quality over quantity, or simply setting boundaries that protect your inner peace. It could even be as simple as releasing the guilt that comes with saying no to social norms that no longer serve you. Buddhism reminds us that suffering arises from attachment. When we attach our self-worth to how socially active we are, we place our happiness in external hands. But when we release these expectations, we open the door to a new kind of contentment, one rooted in presence, self-acceptance, and inner stillness. Imagine waking up in the morning without feeling pressured to meet obligations that drain you. Instead of filling your schedule with activities out of habit, you make space for what truly brings you joy. A quiet walk, a good book, deep conversations with those who truly matter. This is not loneliness, it is freedom. You are not obligated to maintain friendships that exhaust you. You do not have to fit into outdated molds of what a social life should look like. True peace is found not in appeasing others, but in honoring yourself. At the end of the day, the true measure of a well-lived life is not the number of people around you, the invitations you receive, or the social obligations you fulfill. It is found in the tranquility that comes from living in alignment with your deepest truth. Letting go is not about isolation. It is about liberation. And in that freedom, you discover your most authentic self. 7. Practical considerations, redefining connection. Aging brings changes. Our bodies slow down, energy levels shift, and mobility may not be what it once was. But these are not limitations. They are invitations to experience connection in new and meaningful ways. Too often, we associate connection with large gatherings, celebrations, or long conversations. Yet, true connection is found in the smallest of moments. A warm smile from a stranger, the laughter of a child drifting through the air, or the quiet comfort of a handwritten letter. Modern technology, often seen as impersonal, can be a powerful tool for maintaining closeness without exhausting ourselves. A simple video call with a loved one, a heartfelt message, or even a silent moment shared over the phone reminds us that we are never truly alone. Connection does not require grand gestures. It only requires intention. Buddhism teaches us to embrace change rather than resist it. If our bodies slow down, we don't fight against it. We move with it. If traveling becomes difficult, we seek fulfillment in the spaces we already inhabit. Connection does not depend on movement. It depends on presence. Instead of mourning what we can no longer do, we can ask, how can I experience connection in a way that aligns with my life now? Perhaps this means deepening the relationships we already have rather than seeking new ones. Maybe it's fostering a connection with nature, feeling the rhythm of life in the whisper of the wind, the rustle of leaves, the warmth of sunlight on our skin. The more we slow down, the more we realize that connection is not about the number of people around us, but about how deeply we engage with the life before us. By redefining what connection means to us, we release the pressure to conform to outdated social expectations. We embrace the quiet, the simplicity, and the richness of a life well lived. True fulfillment is not found in constant socializing, but in meaningful, reciprocal interactions that nourish the soul. In the end, connection is not about filling space with people. It's about filling moments with presence. When we stop chasing connection in the ways we once did, we open ourselves to something even more beautiful. The realization that life itself is always offering us ways to connect, if only we choose to see them. If you're still watching this video and finding these lessons useful, comment the number 7 below to let me know you're here with me. Thank you for your valuable time. 8. A legacy of wisdom. Buddhism teaches that the most valuable gift we can leave behind is wisdom, not wealth, not social status, but the lessons we impart through our presence, understanding, and example. Old age is not about accumulating more. It is about distilling life down to its essence, shedding what no longer matters, and sharing what truly does. Through storytelling, we pass down experiences, offering guidance wrapped in personal history. The struggles we have overcome, the choices we have made, and the insights we have gained become roadmaps for those who follow. Through acts of kindness, we demonstrate the true nature of compassion, showing that generosity is not measured in money, but in time, patience, and a willingness to listen. By embodying peace, we become living examples of tranquility, reminding those around us that true contentment is not found in material success, but in a mind unburdened by regret or attachment. Even in solitude, our impact ripples beyond us. A life lived with wisdom is a life that continues to give long after we are gone. Each lesson shared, each seed of insight planted, and each word of encouragement offered becomes part of a much greater whole, a collective knowledge that shapes future generations. As Maya Angelou beautifully said, "I've learned that people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel." This is how we leave a legacy, not in stone, not in riches, but in the transformation of lives we have touched. Through wisdom, love, and presence, we create something that endures far beyond our years. 9. Embracing the gift of your own company. At the heart of Buddhism is a simple yet profound truth. Suffering arises from craving, from longing for what we do not have, from resisting the present moment as it is. But when we learn to sit with ourselves, to fully embrace our own presence, we unlock a joy that is unshakable. It is the kind of joy that does not depend on external circumstances, the kind that radiates from within like a quiet, steady light. Old age is not a time of loss, it is a time of profound gain. It is a return to the self, an opportunity to live fully and authentically, free from the burdens of societal expectations. For much of our lives, we shape ourselves to fit into roles: parent, spouse, worker, friend, maintaining relationships out of obligation, striving to be who others expect us to be. But in solitude, those masks fall away, and what remains is something raw and real, the unfiltered truth of who we are. What once seemed like emptiness transforms into sanctuary. The silence that once felt daunting becomes a space of infinite depth. In stillness, we begin to listen, to truly listen, to the quiet wisdom that has been speaking to us all along. We come to realize that happiness was never something outside of us, something to be earned, found, or given. It was always here, waiting for us to notice it. Many fear that embracing solitude means giving up on human connection, but the opposite is true. When we are at peace within ourselves, our relationships become lighter, freer, more meaningful. No longer weighed down by expectation or dependency, we begin to appreciate people for who they truly are, rather than for what they can give us. We give love not out of need, but because we are overflowing with it. I remember my Uncle Joe, who, in his retirement, declared himself a professional napper. After decades of socializing, running a business, and attending endless family gatherings, he decided he had earned the right to say no to things that didn't bring him joy. "I don't do small talk anymore," he once told me. "If someone asks me about the weather, I just tell them to look outside." He found joy in the simplest of things: afternoon naps, eating pie straight from the tin, and yelling at game show contestants on TV as if they could hear him. And yet, despite his love for solitude, he had a way of making every interaction count. When he spoke, people listened. When he laughed, it was the kind of deep, belly-shaking laugh that made you laugh too. He taught me that solitude doesn't mean shutting people out. It means saving your energy for what truly matters. Then, something profound happens. We realize that we were never truly alone. The universe is not separate from us. It moves through us, breathes with us. The trees, the wind, the sun, everything is alive, connected, intertwined. Solitude, in its truest sense, is not isolation. It is a union with the vast and boundless nature of existence. This is the gift of our own company, not something to endure, but something to cherish. It is an invitation to step into the vastness of our being, to see ourselves with clarity, to hold our own hand and say, "I am enough." As we walk this path of aging, let us not mourn what has passed or cling to what is fleeting. Instead, let us embrace the present, the fullness of our own presence. Let us sit in the quiet, not with fear, but with reverence. For in that stillness, in that sacred solitude, we do not lose ourselves. We finally find ourselves. As we reach the end of this journey together, let's take a moment to reflect. Aging is not about loss, it's about rediscovery. It's about letting go of expectations that no longer serve us and embracing the life that is right in front of us. Solitude is not something to fear, but something to cherish. It is a space where we can finally hear our own thoughts, embrace our truest selves, and find a kind of peace that doesn't depend on anyone else. If this message resonated with you, share it with someone who might need it. And remember, your presence, your wisdom, matters more than you know. If you found this video helpful, please leave a comment, hit the like button, and share it with your loved ones so they too can benefit from these valuable insights. And most importantly, don't forget to subscribe to Life Advice for You so you never miss out on more helpful content in the future. Thank you for watching. Wishing you a wonderful day filled with order, peace, and happiness.